Lesson 16. Part 1. Adversity. He that never was acquainted with adversity has seen the world but on one side. Blister. My new shoes have made blisters on my heels. Clatter. The clatter of metal plates was heard from the kitchen. Digital. Most of the telephone dials use digital numbers. Gash. He cannot work today. He got a gash in his hand while axing. Impunity. Even militarily weak and small nations have defied UN decisions with impunity. Manure. Plants grow much faster and stronger when they are given manure. Porous. Glass is not porous. It doesn't allow liquid to pass through. Shack. There are a lot of shacks in the run-down part of town near the railroad. Span. The average lifespan of people has increased considerably since the 19th century. Twitch. The strong winds twitched the paper out of her hand. Part 2. Armistice. The French battleships were placed within the power of Nazi Germany in accordance with the armistice terms. Breach. It would be a breach of duty for the guard to leave before his replacement comes. Comity. To help new students get oriented furthers the comity of the school. Dungeon. Some prisoners in the dungeon will be released tomorrow. Gregarious. He is a gregarious man. He enjoys the companionship of a large number of friends. Incur. The explorers incurred great dangers when they tried to cross the rapids. Mole. She has a small mole on the left side of her nose. The mole digs holes and passages underground and makes its home in them. Patent. He has applied for a patent on his latest invention. Sip. This coffee is very hot. Do not drink it quickly, but sip it. Sulfur. Sulfur is found abundantly in volcanic regions. Upsurge. This year's upsurge in rice production is due to the new method of cultivation. Part 3. Austere. Grandfather was an austere man. He used to be silent and very strict to us. Bouquet. When I was in the hospital, she called on me with a bouquet of roses in her hand. Coral. In the Pacific Ocean, there are many coral atolls that are ring-like islands. Forum. A group of schoolmasters are holding a forum on new ways of teaching history. Gym. On rainy days, the students play games in the gym. Interject. Not like that, he interjected while explaining how to take the machine into pieces. Mushroom. Some mushrooms are good to eat. Some, such as toadstools, are poisonous. Raft. They escaped from the wrecked ship on a raft. Smear. The children looked like Negroes. Their faces were smeared with soot. Taper. One end of a pencil is tapered off to a point. Via. I have read this French play via an English translation. Part 4. Barometer. Newspapers are often called barometers of public opinion. Comply. He complied with the doctor's order that he should take a rest at home. Coxcomb. A coxcomb spends too much money and time on his clothes and appearance. Foliage. In summer, the house next door is hidden by luxuriant foliage. Hijira. She made her plan for her annual summer hijira to Miami Beach. Lair. The hunters traced the footmarks of a tiger, and at last they found him in his lair. Nightmare. The child had a terrible nightmare and awoke crying. Reservoir. This reservoir is large enough to supply water to the entire city. Sod. He bought some sod to put in the bare spots of his lawn. Trash. Rake up the trash in the yard and burn it. We will have some guests tonight. Warehouse. The furniture will stay in the warehouse until they pay the storage cost. Part 5. Belch. The volcano belched a staggering amount of fire, smoke, and ashes. Chore. It's such a chore to do the shopping every day. Crimson. When she was asked a sudden question, her face turned crimson in embarrassment. Fugitive. The fugitive had already packed and bought his ticket. Horde. Two women were quarreling on the street, surrounded by a horde of people. Linguist. Usually, a linguist is skilled in a number of languages besides his own. Petroleum. The price of the petroleum has been raised too high during the last few years. Rumple. Mary rumpled her dress by sitting on the floor. Sneeze. A person sneezes when he has a cold. Twine. She twined her arm around his neck and kissed him. Whir. When we got inside the factory, we couldn't hear the guide explain because of the whirring of the motors.